Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Mother decides it's time I get married to some random guy and not my boyfriend. After that, am I the jerk for posting in the group chat about a theft committed by guests of my housemate? And after that, Karen loses it at Build-A-Bear. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to go to Build-A-Bear. But they're so cute! So please smash that like button, and if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Mother decides it's time I get married to some random guy and not my boyfriend. A little necessary background. I am currently no contact with my parents and siblings and have been for over a year. Extended family I'm okay with and spend a lot of time with. I currently live with my boyfriend, which my entire family is aware of but don't know much. We're also Desi, and my boyfriend is white. For Christmas, I visited my aunt and cousins to drop off presents. It was a socially distant exchange, but I stayed a while to chat about things. Whenever I see my aunt, she tends to give me important updates about my parents and immediate family. For example, I knew my mom broke her arm or that my brother and his wife moved closer to home, things like that. So my aunt had a little tidbit she wanted to share with me before I headed out. And, so your mom has a proposal for you. Apparently, a family friend had reached out to my mother, not knowing about our no-contact situation, and thought that her son would have been a perfect match for me. I literally know nothing about this guy, but my mother apparently rushed ahead agreeing with this friend. She sent my photo and information, and that friend loved me apparently. My mother then called my aunt, sent her the guy's photo and information, and cried, saying she didn't know how to get in contact with me to share the good news, and asked if she would reach out to me and show me the photo. My mother kept stressing that he's a good boy from a good family, and we know this person and that person, and how it'd be a great match, and he lives in Chicago, so I could be under my sister's nose. One sister lives in Chicago, while married, and oh, wouldn't it be so wonderful? My aunt responded with, okay, yeah, sure, and didn't really give my mother an opinion. While speaking to my aunt about this, I was incredulous. She is all for mending my relationship with my family, but understands and respects my space. My aunt is well aware that my boyfriend and I live together, so she took what my mother said with a grain of salt. But oh my God, I'm just appalled by my mother and what she thinks is okay to say about me to other people. Am I the jerk for posting in the group chat about a theft committed by guests of my housemate? I live in a house with 3 other people. All 4 of us are on the tenancy agreement. Over the Christmas period, 3 of the 4 housemates, me included, left town to spend the holidays with our respective families. The final flatmate remained in the house. After a week away, I returned home to find my room was a mess. My bed looked like it had been slept in. Someone had left half-empty cups and bottles of alcohol sitting around. Red wine had been spilt on my floor, and my bin was overflowing with the wine-soaked toilet paper, which I assumed was what they used to clean up the spill. Whoever had been in there had also moved some things from their usual places and placed them elsewhere in the room. They even left a snotty tissue behind for me to find. I checked the rest of the house, including the 3 other bedrooms, and everything was normal, but I could definitely tell a party had happened on the bottom floor, which is where the kitchen, lounge, and outdoor area are. Nobody was even home when I discovered the state of my room, so I took pictures of my room and posted in the house group chat asking what the heck happened. The housemate who hadn't gone away admitted she had invited 5 people over for drinks, but claimed she hadn't realized that any of her guests had made their way to the top floor where my bedroom is. I was super angry at this point, and I struggled to believe she hadn't been aware, but I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, so I ignored her message and got to work cleaning the mess that they had made in my room. This is when I realized my AirPods charger had been stolen. The charger isn't expensive. There were much more valuable things in my bedroom that could have been taken, but this charger also allows me to charge my phone and AirPods, 2 things I always carry, at the same time, so I wanted it back. I went back to our group chat and sent another message saying, "Can you ask your guests to please return my AirPods charger?" That housemate then sent me a private message accusing me of being too harsh and saying I shouldn't have posted about the theft in the group chat for the others to see. I told her that the other housemates have a right to know that a stranger, or multiple strangers, have been walking around the house apparently unsupervised, made themselves at home in at least one of our bedrooms, and taken something that doesn't belong to them. Because there's every possibility they'll return from their holidays and notice one of their belongings has also disappeared. She thinks I'm trying to make her look bad to the others, and the whole thing has turned into an ugly war of words via Messenger. A part of me is starting to believe I shouldn't have posted in the group chat, especially because the theft was relatively minor and the tone of my message was clearly hostile, but at the same time, I don't think I've actually done anything wrong. So my question for you guys is, am I the jerk? Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk for posting about the theft in the group chat or not? Please let us know. Not at all. I think they need to team up and kick her out. Karen loses it at Build-A-Bear. A while ago, I posted a story about my first Karen encounter at Build-A-Bear. For those of you who have never seen or been to a Build-A-Bear, it's the most awesome store in any mall. You pick out an unstuffed friend, fill it up, add extras like a scent or a sound, pick out clothing, name it, and take it home. Now, Build-A-Bear has a ton of licensed products, including The Nightmare Before Christmas. Every year around Halloween, people ask us if we have Jack Skellington or Sally because those are the two bears that get sent to stores. Another thing to note, since lockdown, inventory for our store and all the stores has been weird. Normally, we'd get a truck every single week, but with what's been going on, our schedule has been spotty. Now, when we get our Nightmare Before Christmas items, I notice something. I can't find Sally's dress. In fact, none of us can. Then we realize they didn't send us any of Sally's dresses. We call other stores, the same thing. No one in our area has Sally's dress. This isn't usually an issue because kids will dress up their bears in whatever. One kid got a bright pink unicorn and dressed it up as Darth Vader, so Sally doesn't have to have her dress. Well, according to Karen, she had to. It's the weekend, so we were fairly busy. This family comes in with a mom, 2 grandmas, and 2 kids. As usual, I think everything is fine until the girl wants Sally. My coworker, we'll call her Ava, is helping them when Karen asks about Sally's dress. Ava explains to her that we don't have Sally's dress in stock, nor do any of the other stores have it. And that is when Karen went from polite to just plain rude. Karen asks Ava why we don't have the dress, and again, Ava explains. Karen still doesn't understand why we didn't have the dress and starts demanding we try to get it for her. Ava, bless her soul, brings Karen over to the computer to show her why we can't just buy the dress. I'm on stuffing duty, and one of the kids, a boy who I'll call Thing 1, wants Jack. Again, I think the kid is fine until I realize he doesn't understand the concept of staying in line or going in order. To keep things simple, Build-A-Bear has an order. You pick out your friend, we ask if you want a sound, then you stuff. The reason for this is that the sound has to go into the bear before we stuff him. Now, I do remember one of my coworkers asking Thing 1 if he wanted a sound. The sound wasn't in the bear, so I assumed his parents said no. But then he mentions he wants a sound, so I have to get up, get Jack's sound, and then start again. While I'm doing this, the kid is running back and forth to his mom. This kid is like 6 or 7. He should know better than to run in a store, but whatever. Jack is stuffed, so I give it to the boy to hug. Then I tell him about the hearts. All friends get a felt heart, but you can get special hearts that beat like a real one. Thing 1 squeezes the special heart and says he wants that one. He begs the 2 grandmas and then runs over to his mom again. Now, had he been the only customer in the store, it'd be fine, but we have a fairly big line, and he was making the process longer. Thankfully, Thing 1 comes back and Karen vetoed the heart, so I finish up the bear. Story over, right? Nope. Karen is furious that we don't have Sally's dress. Keep in mind, Ava has explained to her many times that we cannot order the dress because it's part of the bundle. Karen apparently doesn't care. For the rest of her visit, she keeps making snide comments about the dress. Why don't they have it? It shouldn't be that hard. I wish this store had the dress. Blah, blah, blah. Then, when she comes over with her daughter, Thing 2, they hold up the line even more because they did the same thing Thing 1 did with the sound. And once again, Karen keeps making snide comments about the dress, saying how ridiculous it is that we don't have the dress. Not only was she making these comments, but she didn't smile once as I performed the heart ceremony and continued to talk about the dress throughout the store. When she left, we said, "Have a good day." She replied with, "I doubt it." Karen, please never come back to my Build-A-Bear, and I kinda hope you never find Sally's dress. Have you ever been to Build-A-Bear? If so, what kind of bear did you make? Please let us know. I want a matching Mr. Reddit and Karen bear. That's a really good idea. We should get in touch with them about that. The day I lit an ambulance on fire. Several years ago, I was working as an EMT for a small private ambulance company which contracted primarily as a transportation service. The ambulance company employed a pair of mechanics that did regular maintenance on each unit and fixed problems when they came up. The company's CEO was pretty stingy when it came to money, so the rigs were old and a lot of the mechanics' spare time went towards restoring the Impala owned by the CEO's son. I wasn't well liked by the owners and management for one reason or another, but I suspect it's because I frequently spoke my mind. This means that I was tasked with the worst trucks on the worst shifts. One day, my partner and I were dispatched to a scheduled patient transfer from a long-term rehabilitation facility to their home. On our way to the facility, our ambulance overheated and we were forced to pull over. Dispatch was notified and we were told to let them know when the truck cooled so we could get back to work. An hour later, the truck was still hotter than I'd like, and I let dispatch know that we needed a new unit. Their solution was to have us drive back and swap our gear into a fresh unit to finish our shift. We would need to drive across town to get back to dispatch, so I let them know that it would take a while as we'd need to pull over every time the engine overheated. Little else was discussed and we started back. I figured I'd stick to the smaller side roads and take my time avoiding the freeways for the safety of ourselves and other drivers sharing the road. I should also mention that every ambulance has a GPS reporting system that reports all of our telemetry, so we're tracked every moment of every day. The moment we pass the first entrance to the freeway, the dispatch manager, we'll call her Mary, calls us on the radio and angrily asks us to explain why we're not following instructions. I opted to give her a phone call to settle this and not have a long drawn-out discussion on the public airwaves. Mary accuses my partner and I of wasting time and milking the situation so we wouldn't have to take our share of calls. Mary goes on saying that our intentions were obvious since we're not taking the freeway, and as such, when we got back to dispatch, we would be dismissed for the remainder of the day without pay, and they would investigate to see if further disciplinary actions would be needed. I tried to let her know that driving on the freeway was unsafe and I would have to stop more frequently, but she wouldn't hear it and told me to get back as fast as possible. No more delays. Cue malicious compliance. Our patient monitoring equipment is incredibly expensive, and management has stated in the past that if we break it, we're on the hook to replace it. So I tell my partner to pack it all up and put it just inside the side door because I wasn't sure what would happen, but chances were good that we'd need to grab it quickly and make a run for it. So, as directed, we turn around and head back to the freeway entrance at full speed. I think we made it to the end of the freeway merging lane when the temperature gauge started to redline and we had another 12 miles to go. The further I drove, the hotter the engine got and it started to produce white smoke. Lightly at first, then heavier as we approached the big hill just before our freeway exit. Several cars were passing us and honking their horns to alert us of our peril, but there was no stopping this train. We were filling up the lanes behind us with smoke, and the smell was wretched, but the ambulance was still running. As we made it to the top of the hill, the engine cut off and we lost all power. Smoke was pouring out of the sides of the hood, but my vision wasn't compromised, so I coasted it over to the shoulder and got it as far off the road as I could safely manage to. Once I threw it into park, flames erupted from the engine. I told my partner to get as much equipment evacuated as she could, and I grabbed the fire extinguisher. As I'm trying to put out the fire, my partner is on the phone, letting dispatch know that we were forced to stop because our ambulance was on its way to a fiery death. I guess at this point, our situation had received enough attention that someone had called 911 and the fire department was dispatched, but they pulled up on the opposite side of the freeway watching to make sure that things didn't spiral out of control. We were sure to let dispatch know that the fire department had also arrived. Shortly after our call, the CEO's son showed up in his Impala to pick up the equipment, as well as myself and my partner. He was on the phone trying to get a flatbed tow truck out as fast as possible so his smoking ambulance could be removed from the public view as quickly as possible. The unit was picked up and towed back to the garage, all while the fire department sat and watched. My partner and I were still sent home for the rest of the day. I celebrated the early start to my weekend with a few drinks, and nothing else ever came of it. That unit was retired and never saw service after that, but the mechanics said they owed me a beer, I guess because I brought the end to their worst rig in their fleet and they no longer needed to provide upkeep on it. Am I the jerk for blowing up over a Christmas tradition being exploited? My family has a tradition where every year we will each draw a name of a family member around June for a Secret Santa. You make a Christmas gift for that person, which is supposed to be their one gift that year. This year, I drew my sister and decided to make a blanket set. She sends me pictures of things she likes, and I looked through some of them before deciding on a pattern. Christmas Day came, and my sister was smiling brightly at receiving this set, plus the extra one I made her husband, married for 5 years, so he knows the tradition. It's important to note that each person in my family has a different craft we excel at, so even though it's supposed to be a Secret Santa, you typically know who made what. I knew on my turn that I only could have received a present from one of two people: brother-in-law, Blanket's sister's husband, or my other sister who paints. I was hopeful that brother-in-law drew my name since he is into woodcrafting, and gifts he has given in the previous years were beautiful. To my delight, I was right that he drew my name. The present was lackluster to say the least. A pair of socks, a t-shirt, and a pair of yoga pants. All in colors my sister knows I really dislike, and all in her size. I tried to smile, but I was extremely disappointed. Then my brother-in-law looked uncomfortable throughout the day, asking how long I had worked on the blanket set. He seemed surprised when I said that I had started in September. Later I heard them talking and found out my sister had bought the items I was given. This was a sister who the previous year had drawn my name and had given me yarn she bought at a garage sale, then started showing off the diamond necklace her husband had given her. I'm disappointed, hurt, and starting to suspect that brother-in-law either forgot until the last minute and got some things that my sister bought for herself to use as a gift, or that my sister said she'd get something and just threw something together at the last minute. When I left our get-together that night, I purposefully left the present on my brother-in-law's things. Today, my sister, over a Zoom call with my family, demanded an apology for my rudeness. She either didn't realize or didn't care that she was wearing the shirt that was supposedly my gift. I blew up, yelling that our Secret Santa tradition was being exploited by her to be a greedy jerk, demanding nice and extravagant gifts while not even spending $10 or a little bit of effort on anyone aside from herself. I pointedly stated that I wasn't going to be participating if this was how things were going to go, and hung up. My other sister is in my corner, my dad is on the fence, and my mom is demanding I make the apology. Am I the jerk? Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or is her sister? Please let us know. It's amazing how many stories we've read lately about Christmas gifts. All I got was a lump of coal. Demands my skills for free. So I got a bobbin lace starter kit and extra bobbins for Christmas. My grandmother made a bobbin lace and I wanted to try too. So I spent 5 hours making a little bookmark. Now, bobbin lace is becoming a lost art. Less people are making it and fewer are wanting to learn, so it's also a valued artisan craft. I should have just listened to my gut. I showed a picture of the lace to a coworker who also crafts. They knit, but they would appreciate the art. The picture shows that it's clearly a piece of beginner's work. Oh, cool. So you can make me one now too, right? Me. Not really. I'm doing this just to learn and make some stuff for myself. I'll most likely never take commission for lace. It took me 5 hours to do this. The bookmark was 4 inches long. But you can just make me the same one. Surely you won't miss one piece of lace. I grit my teeth, mildly annoyed. People tended to push me for my other craft too. No, and besides, I doubt you want to pay my hourly rate for custom crafting. I charge $10 an hour for crafts larger than gloves or scarves. So sewing, quilting, knitting, and crocheting. Tatting and baking is $10 an hour. No exceptions unless I'm doing it for fun or my immediate family. Wait, pay you? Why would I pay you for a tiny piece of lace? Because it takes hours to make, so I charge for work I have to do versus work I want to do. Well, you'll never sell your lace that way. That's the point. She huffed as I walked off. I was more than a little annoyed that yet another person wants my skills for free. Am I the jerk for not financially helping family and friends despite being able to? My son Nick was born with a congenital heart defect 17 years ago. It required a $60,000 surgery in Israel if he was to survive past 12 months. I've spent the first 3 months of his life running around, begging people and searching for money. My parents gave us $100. They had well-paying jobs and guaranteed state pensions. When I asked my brother for help, he mumbled something about needing to save for his daughter's college. She never went, by the way. Anyone who met her could have told him that much. They did take a regular vacation overseas, though. My department of 40 at work donated $30 and a card. At one point, I was seriously searching for ways to sell my kidney and liver. My in-laws sold their apartment for $35,000. Best friend gave me another $7,000, which was all he had. Accepting his help was one of the few times I cried in my adult life. I sold my car and every piece of furniture and electronics that wasn't bolted to the walls. My in-laws moved in, and we spent the next 5 years living together. 5 people crammed into a 2-bedroom. Surgery was a success. As fate has it, I started a hustle and it took off. After years of hard work, I moved our headquarters to a Central European country to be closer to our EU clients. Even discounting for about 2/3 of my wealth that is tied up in the business, I am a multimillionaire. My in-laws now have a 4-bedroom house. We pay for them to go on vacations 3 to 4 times a year, or did before 2020. My son is a hard worker who makes me a very proud father. I can't say that I hate those who didn't help back in the day. Hate is a strong word. Rather, I feel like I've learned my lesson and don't expect anything from them. I don't invite my parents for visits. They're welcome to pay for their flights in a hotel room, but I won't cover their expenses like I do with the in-laws. My brother asked for a loan to start his business 5 years ago. I said the time wasn't right. 2 months ago, his daughter got into a car accident. Nothing seemingly life-threatening, but a lot of nasty scarring on her legs that require a costly cosmetic surgery. I suggested he look into downsizing, as I am focused on helping my kids get good education. Old coworkers who wanted to join my business once it took off were told to apply through the regular process, except for my best friend. He's been my partner from the start, and I sleep better at night knowing we've got each other's backs. It comes without saying, there have been lots of very unhappy people in my life. In our culture, you're expected to support your community and family, do favors. Nepotism is very much an ingrained thing. You're supposed to bring over your family if you're lucky enough to root yourself in the Western world, help friends immigrate. My parents told me to my face they are ashamed of me and how the Western culture has changed me. I've been called many things, way worse than jerk and heartless. After hearing my story, tell me Reddit, am I though? Edit. To those wondering why my parents had a pretty lukewarm response, if you can even call it that, the surgery had a 40% success rate. They thought we should let nature run its course and instead try for a new baby. It may sound horrendous to Westerners, but it's not that cold of a statement to someone in our home country. But obviously, wife and I didn't take it well. Edit. Highway Girl 2004. I will talk to my wife about helping our niece. I stand by what I said. It's on her for putting herself in this position and her parents to help her fix it. So I won't cover the whole cost, but I will ask my wife if we should cover half. The more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards this being the right answer. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know. I know your boss, so I expect a discount. Has anyone ever worked for a company where the company name includes what seems to be someone's first name? Our family surname doubles as a first name. Most first names surnames have an S at the end, such as Andrews, Collins, Edwards, etc. But occasionally you get the ones without the S, such as Psychic John Edward. We owned a breakdown towing service in Australia. A lot of people decided that they should get free towing or reduced rates. Our company name was our surname, with an S followed by towing service. Let's use Philip, not our real name. Practically every week I would get a phone call from someone saying that they were a friend of Philip's, and he had told them they could get a free tow or a $10 tow. In Sydney, most basic towing starts around $60 for a tow around a corner. My response would be, which member of the Phillips family, sir? It was always a male. What do you mean? I know Philip. Philip is a surname, sir, and there are 4 members of the family who work in the business. Who are you friends with, sir? Click. Obviously, these people didn't care if the person who organized the tow got fired for not getting paid or not charging enough. They were entitled to use the service for free or for their decided amount. When I was working as a receptionist, I had someone ring one day and tell me that they were my boss's doctor. I called my boss and said that there was someone on the phone who said he was the boss doctor, and the boss told me to put the call through. Turned out to be someone who was selling timeshares who had worked out a way of getting past the receptionist to their target. After that, I asked the name so I could confirm who was actually calling. Am I the jerk for not letting my mother-in-law move in with us after we have our baby? I'm in a very happy marriage, with just one tiny issue. My husband's mother is very, as he would put it, Asian. She didn't initially take kindly to me for being white. Years later, she's a lot better, but now that we're expecting, she's gotten very involved in our lives, and it's starting to drive me nuts. She really wants to come help after the baby comes. Her first offer was to raise the baby herself for a few years. It took a bit of back and forth, but we managed to put our foot down to say that we wanted to raise our baby ourselves. The next offer has been to come move in with us and help with cooking and cleaning and the like for 6 months to a year after. Although it certainly would be nice to have more help with cooking and cleaning, she hates dogs, and we have 2. Her main hobby is standing in the kitchen and singing very loudly. She tends to barge in on us at random intervals throughout the night to ask for random things. She only communicates with my husband in commands. Nothing you do is ever good enough for her, and my biggest and strangest gripe is she really wants to cook for us all the time after the baby comes. But she's not the best cook and accidentally hits me with foods I'm allergic to. Although to her credit, she's trying really hard to not do this, and this is mostly a problem with not being able to read English labels at the grocery store. My husband's biggest gripe is the singing. Both him and his father will frequently crack and leave the house when it starts to go on for 4 hours. We're trying to negotiate with her so that she still feels useful and that she can see the baby. But she was very insulted over Christmas when we suggested we get her a separate apartment instead of staying in our condo for the first 6 months to a year after the baby comes. And I've been told by everyone in my immediate family that isn't my husband that I'm being selfish and that I should just let her move in and help because we'll need it. But I'm not sure how I can handle both her and the baby. So, am I the jerk here? I'm trying my best to do damage control and find a good solution, but man, is this tough. Well, what do you think? Should they let their mother-in-law move in or not? Please let us know. I know I wouldn't. My brother deleted my Siege account. I got revenge. Okay, context time. I, 17, male, live with my parents and brother, who's 13. We had gotten a PS4 a few Christmases ago. My brother had downloaded Fortnite on it and was mad addicted. He even went to desperate measures as to sneaking the controller out of our parents' room during the day/night. Now, story time. Sometimes I would go into my brother's room, see him on the PS4, and ask, "Do mom and dad know you're on that?" His response, "What's it matter to you?" I'd tell him, "I just want to make sure you asked first." He'd tell me, "Just go away and quit being nosy." This went on for several months. I didn't think it would be so bad until one day while he was at school, I decided to hop onto Spider-Man for PS4. Great game, by the way. I had discovered food wrappers in his drawers, shelves, you name it. I decided to confront him about it when he got home. Convo goes as follows. Me: "Hey, little brother, did you want to explain something to me?" Little brother: "Not now. I'm gonna hop on Fortnite." Me: "Do you want to tell me why I found food wrappers in your shelves?" Brother got defensive. "Why did you look through my stuff? Mind your business." Me: "You do know that we aren't allowed to eat in our rooms, right?" "I can do whatever I want. Eat in here and sneak the controller out, and you can't say anything about it." Me: "Whatever, dude." Then what he said took action in my brain. I really could say something about it. However, I would need proof of this deal. That caused me to grind some gears and get to work. While he was at school, I decided to take pictures of the food wrappers, hidden controller, and a few other things. I compiled them into a file on my gallery and waited for the right moment. Unfortunately, waiting was my downfall. I later found out my brother had got the password for my phone and deleted that file. I was livid at the fact. I had gotten on the PlayStation and played some Apex Legends. My brother came home, demanding I get off so he could play. He told me about how he's going to continue this act and how he got the password for my phone and deleted my evidence file. I said forget it and got off. One day, I tried to log into my account on Rainbow Six Siege, but it said my account was non-existent. I tried several times, but no luck. Later, I found out my brother hopped onto my Siege account and deleted it. I confronted him about it when he came home, and he smiled and said, "Maybe I wouldn't have to do that if you didn't try to bust me." Never have I been so angry, hopeless, and sad. Years of progress gone. All those operators, skins, attachments, everything gone. I felt defeated, but then a moment of hope shined. My mom asked me to see if I could find my brother's Bible, as she wanted to see if it was still intact. My plan B was going to take place. Basically, instead of actually looking for the Bible, I stood in the room for about 20 minutes and made some racket to make it sound like I was looking for it. After the 20 minutes, I yelled for Mom. "Hey, I can't find it. Could you help me?" Why I did that? Let me explain. Instead of getting evidence of my brother's shenanigans, I would have Mom help me look, but instead have her find everything. When looking, she found one food wrapper and she asked, "Do you know where this came from?" To which I replied, "Not a clue." This leads her to find the following items hidden: 3 Pringles cans, 5 empty sodas, some Ritz cracker packages, an entire box of Andes mints, and some other stuff. She also found where my brother hid the controller. She was so livid she could barely contain herself. She confronted brother about it, and this was her punishment to him. She unplugged both the TV and PS4 cord so he couldn't get on, hid the controllers, we had 3 of them, in her closet, then locked it with the only key and took away his tablet. Instead of going to see a movie, I think it was Sonic, with some family friends and going to their house afterwards, he had to stay home with my dad and clean up his own room. A few days later, he tried to scold me. Conversation goes as follows. Little brother: I hope you're happy with yourself. Me: what do you mean? I can't play Fortnite anymore, and it's your fault. Me: actually, it's your fault. You tried to shove me away when I confronted you, but you still continued your act. Mom busted you, and now your privileges are gone. Little brother: I'm gonna make sure you suffer for this. Me: good luck. Also, Mom talked about putting the PS4 in my room. Thought I might let you know. What? But that's not fair. Nothing is fair when you get busted. You will give me the PlayStation back, or I'll steal it from your room. Me: try it. I'm sure my audio recording will tell Mom your motives. He finally gave up and stormed off. He's gonna kiss Fortnite goodbye for a while. Never have I been so satisfied. You definitely haven't seen this video, so come watch it and we'll see you when you get there. And please support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And to have us make any kind of video you'd like us to, just come visit us on Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.